Hello and welcome everyone. A very good morning to all the class 8 students of Rajeshwar Vidyalaya. I am Prabhat Sharma once again before you with the first chapter of our course, My Brick Brother, written by Munshi Premchand. Today we will see something about the biography of Munshi Premchand. Munshi Premchand's original name was Dhanpat Rai Srivastav and he was born on 31st of July 1880 in the village Lamhi near Varanasi, where his father was a clerk at the post office. Premchand's parents died young, his mother when he was 7 and his father when he was 14 and still a student. Premchand was left responsible for his stepmother and step siblings to look after. Early in life, Premchand faced immense poverty. He earned 5 rupees a month tutoring a lawyer's child. He was married at the early age of 15, but that marriage failed. Later, he married again to Shivrani Devi, who was a Bal Vidva, means a child widow, and had several children. She supported him through his life struggles. Premchand passed his matriculation exams with great effort in 1898, and in 1899 he took up school teaching job with a monthly salary of 18 rupees. In 1919 he passed his BA with English, Persian and history. Later Premchand worked as the deputy inspector of schools. Premchand lived a life of financial struggle. Once he took a loan of 2.5 rupees to buy some clothes. He had to struggle for 3 years to pay it back. When asked why he does not write anything about himself, he answered, "What greatness do I have that I have to tell anyone about? I live just like millions of people in this country. I am ordinary. My life is also ordinary. I am a poor school teacher. During my whole lifetime, I have been grinding away with the hope that I could become free of my sufferings. But I have not been able to free myself from suffering. What is so special about this life that needs to be told to anybody?" During his last years, he became terribly ill. The money his wife used to give for his treatment was used in running the press, his printing press. The name of the press was the Saraswati. He was also writing a book, Mangal Sutra, which would never be completed. All this had serious impact on his health, leading to his early death on 18th October 1936 at an age of 56. So this was something about Munshi Premchand. Now once again we'll have the reading of the lesson.
Was 5 years older than me, but only 3 years ahead of me at school. He had begun school at the same age as I had, but he did not like to be in undue haste in such an important matter as education. He wanted to lay a very solid foundation so that a magnificent structure could be raised upon it. So he spent 2 years where only one was needed, and sometimes even 3. How can one raise a strong building on a weak foundation? I was 9, and he was 14. When he was in class 9, I was in class 5. It was his birthright to admonish me, and I was expected to accept his commands as the law. My elder brother was studious by nature, always glued to his books. I never felt at home with books. To sit with a book for an hour was like climbing a mountain. At the first opportunity, I would walk out of the hostel into the open ground and toss pebbles into the air or fly paper butterflies, and I felt happier still if I could find a companion. We would jump across the walls or ride upon the gates and swing them to and fro to enjoy a motor ride. But the moment I returned to the room, I would freeze in my tracks to see my brother's red face. His first question would be, "Where have you been?" Always always the same question in the same tone. And my answer was silence. I don't know why I couldn't tell him that I had just gone out to play. My silence proclaimed that I accepted my crime, and my brother would greet me with indignant words. If you study like this, you will learn nothing. Learning English is no child's play. Otherwise, everybody and his cousin would be regular experts in English. You have to strain your eyes and drain your blood. Only then can one attain this knowledge. Even great scholars can't write correct English. And you are such a blockhead that you don't learn from my example? See how hard I work. Have you ever seen me going out to attend any shows and fairs? Even then I am stuck in each class for 2 to 3 years. You will fritter your whole life away studying in one class. Why waste father's hard-earned money? Listening to this tongue-lashing, I would burst into tears. My brother was an expert at the art of giving advice. His pointed comments, like aphoristic arrows, would pierce my heart and demoralize me. I would sink into hopelessness and think of going home. Why should I waste my life doing something that was beyond my powers? My head would reel, but after a few hours, I would overcome this state of despondency and pledge to devote myself to studies. In no time, I would work out a timetable. The timetable. Get up at 6 in the morning, wash, have breakfast, and sit down to study. English from 6 to 8, arithmetic from 8 to 9, history from 9 to 9:30, then food, and to school. Return from school at 3:30, relax for half an hour, geography from 4 to 5, grammar from 5 to 6, a half-hour stroll in front of the hostel, then eat, translation from 8 to 9, Hindi from 9 to 10, miscellaneous subjects from 10 to 11, then sleep. But to make a timetable is one thing, to put it into practice another. The violation would begin on the very first day. The green fields, the gentle breeze, the run and chase in football, the speed and quickness in volleyball, all these would drag me out and I would forget everything. And my brother would get his opportunity to admonish and sermonize. Even then, I was not able to give up play. The annual examinations ended. My brother failed, and I passed, securing the first position in the class. Now, he was just 2 classes ahead of me. For a moment, I thought of giving him a piece of my mind, but he was so heartbroken that I sincerely sympathized with him, and I gained a certain amount of self-esteem. I began to participate freely in games and sports. If he tried to meddle, I would tell him plainly, I have obtained the first position even while playing and having fun. Even though I had not the courage to speak out with such insolence, it was clear from my demeanor and actions. One day when I returned after spending the whole morning playing, my brother pounced upon me. I can see you have become very smug because you have secured the first position. But, my brother, pride has not served well even the greats. You must have read about the fate of Ravan. He was the master of the whole earth, called the Universal King. Ravan was a universal king because all the kings of the world paid taxes to him. Even the gods of love and rain were his slaves. And yet, what was his end? Pride totally destroyed him. What have you learned from his story? To have passed an examination is not enough. The real thing is the acquisition of wisdom. To internalize whatever you study. You have passed only one class and your head has turned. In this way you won't go very far. You must realize that you did not pass through your hard work. It was a fluke. Sometimes a person plays a big stroke by chance, but that does not make him a great player. You will know when you come to my class. You will sweat between your teeth when you will have to crack the tough nuts of geometry and algebra. God alone save you from geometry. If you wrote ACB for ABC, you would lose all the marks. No one cares to ask these cruel examiners as to what the difference between ACB and ABC is, and why they torture students for these worthless things. these examiners see only what is written in the books. They want students to cram everything, and this cramming is called education. They ask you to write an essay on the importance of punctuality, which should not be less than 4 pages in length. Who doesn't know that punctuality is a good thing? It brings discipline in your life, people begin to love you, and you progress in your business. How to write 4 pages on such a simple issue? But no, you will have to blacken 4 pages, and 4 foolscap pages. The worst part is, you are told to be brief. Write a short essay on punctuality in not less than 4 pages. 4 pages in brief, otherwise they might have asked you to write 200 pages. Run fast, but slowly. Isn't that funny? My boy, when you come to my class, you will have to perform these Herculean labors. Don't float in the air just because you have secured the first position in this class. I might have failed many times, but I am elder than you and more experienced. So mark my words, or you will regret later. It was time for school. If I got a scolding like this when I passed, I might as well have enjoyed myself and failed. The fearful image that my brother had drawn of the studies in his own class had terrified me. But despite this, I couldn't overcome my distaste for books. I wouldn't miss any opportunity for sports. I studied too, but not much. The self-confidence I had attained now disappeared, and I was obliged to live like a malefactor. It was the annual examinations again, once more from 6 to 9:30 before school. I felt sad for him. He broke down when the result was announced. I also cried. The joy of having passed was halved. Had I also failed, my brother wouldn't have grieved so much. Now my brother was just 1 class ahead of me. An evil thought entered my mind. Suppose he failed once again. He would lose the high ground to humiliate me. But I wrenched this despicable idea out of my heart. After all, he upbraids me for my own good. My brother had softened down a bit. He restrained himself, even when there were occasions to upbraid me. I now began to take an undue advantage of his lenience. I started believing that I would get through, whether or not I studied. I developed a fondness for flying kites, and most of my time was spent in this activity. Still, I had a lot of respect for my brother. One evening, away from the hostel, I was running like mad to capture a free-floating kite. My eyes were turned upwards and riveted on the air traveler that was reeling gently towards its downfall, unmindful of the things around. All of a sudden, I came face to face with my brother. He caught hold of my hand there and then and shouted, "Aren't you ashamed of running after a 1-paisa kite? You don't seem to care that now you are in class 8, just 1 class lower than me. A man should have some sense of his status. What use is intelligence if it destroys your self-esteem? I'm 5 years elder to you, and even if you come to the same class as I, and with the present system of examinations, it is quite possible you would be my classmate next year, and even ahead of me the year after. Even God cannot close the 5-year gap between you and me. You cannot ever match my experience of the world and life, even if you become an MA, or a DPhil, or D.Lit. One becomes wise not by reading books, but by seeing the world. Our mother never went to school, and our father perhaps didn't go beyond class 5. We might accumulate all the knowledge in the world, yet they will always retain the right to admonish and correct us. They know 1,000 things that we don't. So forget that you are my equal now and free. I won't let you to tread the wrong path. And if you don't listen, I would even use my hand." I was thoroughly ashamed by this new approach of his. I really became aware of my smallness, and I began to look upon him with reverence. With tearful eyes, I said, "Not at all. You have every right to say it." My brother embraced me and said, I won't have stopped you from flying kites. I, too, long to fly them. But if I were myself to tread the wrong path, how would I stop you? Duty weighs upon my head. By chance, just at that very moment, a kite came floating over our heads. The end of its string was dangling just above us. My brother jumped and caught hold of the loose end of the kite string. Then he ran at top speed towards the hostel, and I ran behind him.
So, dear students, this was our reading of the first lesson, My Big Brother, written by Munshi Premchand. That's all for today's lessons. Thank you. Goodbye. Take care of yourself. May God bless you all, dear students.